Welcome to the Mickey Halloween cookie decorating class with Well Hello Cookie and Well Hello Magic.
Before we get started, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Hey Cookie Family, we are going to be decorating these Mickey themed Halloween cookies. I just want to make sure you have all the supplies in your box. That's the first thing we'll be going over. The icing is a little bit thicker because it will liquefy as you continue to use it. And this time I pre-bagged all the icing for you instead of giving you tubs. So I put an extra 2 bags in there. If you feel that any of them are too runny, you can take those, add a little bit of powdered sugar to them and make them a little thicker. Same thing if you think they're too stiff, but I'm pretty sure the consistency that I have put in there is going to be one that you can use and easily manipulate. Also remember, these cookies don't have to be perfect. So they are to be made however you feel like. You can follow the instructions exactly how I teach the class, or you can decide that you want to do something a little bit different and do your own style. Remember, as I always say in class, all of these cookies come out looking the same, if you know what I mean. So enjoy decorating the class. Hopefully, if you have any questions, put them down in the comments and I will answer them. And thanks for joining us for our Mickey Halloween class.
Let's go over the supplies that you'll need for the class. So the first thing you're going to have is this transfer paper and a cutout of a mini bow because we are going to be creating bows for one of the cookies. You're going to have 2 types of sprinkles. The first one is this kind with eyeballs in it. And at the time of this video, I wasn't sure if I was going to give you the jimmies or the non-perils. And we are going to do the jimmy sprinkles. So everyone should have those 2 types of sprinkles inside of their kit. Then these are the cookies that you should have. The first one is going to be the Mickey Ghost cookie. There should be 2 of these cookies. One will be a girl, one will be a boy, or if you want to make 2 boys, 2 girls, you can do that too. Then there should be 2 Mickey pumpkin cookies in the set. There is 1 Dole Whip. It looks like ice cream swirl on the top. Then a Mickey balloon. Finally, your Mickey donut. And the Mickey or the Minnie ears. This is a delicate cookie too, so just be careful with it. So in everyone's kit, you should have 1 baker's pen. This is a edible marker that you can draw on the cookies. And then other supplies that you're going to need a pair of scissors. So go ahead and grab scissors if you don't have them. That way you can cut the tips. If you are a child decorating this, make sure your grown-up is the one that handles the scissors for you. Next, we're going to go over all the different icings that you need. So you should have a pumpkin color, then you should have a purple, a lime green or mint green color should be another bag. Then you're going to have a white bag, and then you're going to have a black bag as well. Now the thing with these icings, since I'm pre-bagging it for you, a lot of times I don't pre-bag. You may have to massage the bag to make sure all the ingredients are mixed back together. So before we use it, open it up, make sure that you are massaging that bag. Then you have a cookie decorating tool, which is also called a Scribe. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our mini ear cookie and we are going to get our drawing pen. We're going to draw on these so that we have outlines and templates for ourselves. So if you start in the top middle section, you'll see kind of like a half shape, but there's indents. We're going to draw like this. It's kind of like a triangle, kind of like an oval mixture, just where the knot of the bow is going to be. Then from the top of the bow, you know, Minnie has kind of that bubble bow. And so we're going to draw a line down at kind of an angle, and then we're going to go on the bow part that we drew down and draw like a dip. And obviously you're watching the video, so it makes more sense of them saying it. And you're going to have to adjust this. Like I had to kind of darken my lines, change my lines a couple of times. Like that's the great thing about drawing first, is that you can kind of fix your imperfections before you put the icing on it. So just get it to the size that you like. I think I went a little bit further down on the other side. and reshaped the left side just so that it will look like a bow. The next cookie we're going to do is the Mickey Pumpkin. So let's move the headband out of the way and we're going to pull the Mickey Pumpkin down. Now we're going to do this Mickey Pumpkin two different ways. So the first way we're going to do, but we're going to draw on both of them. So the way we start with drawing is we're always going to start in the center. So we're going to draw like an oval nose in the center, which will give us kind of our like starting point and guiding point of the cookie. Once we have this oval nose drawn, we're going to draw like a wide smile. So I'm not going to pass the nose too much, and I'll make my smile line, and then I'll make like an open mouth smile at the bottom. Then once I'm done with this, I'm going to make these like droopy eyes. I'm actually not sure if Winky actually looks like this, but I kind of like this style of eye on this pumpkin. So I'm starting kind of in the middle and I'm drooping down, and I'm going to do that on both sides. And then I'm going to make almost like these bubble shaped eyes. So I really don't, it's like a crescent eye almost. I don't know why I love the way these look, but I actually do love the way these look. So then I'm going to start making the line for like my pumpkin. And so I'm going to start from the bottom where there's a crease, and then I'm going to make like a half, it's like, it'll make the pumpkin almost like an oval in the middle, I guess. But you'll see indentions on the cookie to see where you need to go. And then I am going to also gauge where I need to put that leaf. At the top, there's this little hump. So I'm going to follow that hump and make a deep dip up like it's a leaf, and then I'm going to make like that, like a swoop down. It's almost like a little bang on the side. Then same things for the ears on the side. You're gonna have basically a rounded section in the middle, and then two that come off the sides, kind of like the Mickey pumpkin itself. So that's why I'm starting from the middle, and I'm coming down from either side because I'm hoping that the lines will meet in the middle, and then I can get my shape from there. So you want to do this to both sides of the cookie, and you're going to actually do this to both cookies. So go ahead and work on that. I will have this section like continue showing you in, well, I might speed it up a little bit, but you'll have enough time. Pause the video if you need to. Before we put this pumpkin away, we are going to add the stem. So don't forget to add the stem at the top, so that way we can know where our pumpkin begins and ends. Now we're moving on to our Dole Whip cookie. So this can be done two ways. We are doing a swirl because it's Halloween time, and I wanted to do a swirl because there's two-tone colors right now at some of the Disney Dole Whips locations. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to find that indent for the bowl, and you're going to draw a line across, and you want a slight dip because you want it to give like that bowl effect. There's another indent on this that's just slightly above it. It's hard to see in the film, but on your cookie you'll definitely see it, where you're going to make like a second line, and then you'll connect it at the end. Again, a little slight dip in it so it looks like a bowl, and then we'll connect the sides at the end. Then there is a little like indent up because the bowl is supposed to give like a 3D effect, like the ice cream or the Dole Whip is inside the bowl. So we're going to draw this line and kind of have a little curvature to it, and that is going to be your Dole Whip. So, or your Dole Whip bowl. So now to actually do the Dole Whip, we're going to draw these two lines across. If you are not going to do the swirl, this is all you have to do outside of, we got to make the top because we got to make that little curly Q of the Dole Whip. You could leave it like this and you can fill in the big areas. And now because I want to swirl, I'm going to go to the corner and I'm going to angle my line across so it makes almost like this funky triangle with two pieces because I'm going to make a swirl. But on my regular Dole Whip, I just leave the sections like that. It might be easier for the kids if you do the sections where they can just fill in solid colors. So on this Mickey cookie that we're doing next, we're doing the ghost. We are going to draw faces on both of them, but we're only going to do a face on one of them. I just wanted to show you two different styles of faces. I'm going to do the same kind of face as I did on the pumpkin, just because I thought it was a cute face. I liked it the way it was. So we're going to start in the middle again and make that oval shaped nose, and then we're going to make the wide smile. So you start with the top lip of the smiley face and then make the wide open smile. These are cookies that are going to have like the indentions in them. You're not going to fill in this area. We're going to put black on it. And so then I will do the eyes the same way. I'll make kind of like those upside down angled smiles around the nose and then make like a big bubble eye. Now the second eyes I'm going to do are oval eyes, and I end up doing this on top of the cookie, but I just drew it out so that you could see it. If you are wanting your eyes to be like the sunken eyes and you want them to be in this oval shape, this cookie is showing you what that would look like. But at the end of the day, I'm actually going to put it on top of the white icing. I'm not going to have it below the white icing, but this will give you a visual of that. Thing we're going to do is a royal icing transfer. So you're going to grab that bow and grab the transfer paper. And if you need to make two of these bows because you want two ghosts, just make sure you have enough room to do it twice. The first thing we're going to do is massage your icing bag if you have not done that. But the way that you cut these bags, once your ingredients are mixed, is you're going to want to make sure that the seam is facing up on the bag. So massage it first if you need to. Now keep the seam up. And now you're going to cut a tiny hole at the edge. You can always cut more, so try to cut a little bit less. Your hole that you create should allow icing to come out in a steady flow. If it's all squiggly and coming out like wonky, you need to cut your hole a little bit bigger. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this bow with my orange icing. And I am going to do all of the lines of this bow. So you're not filling anything in, you're just tracing the outside of this bow. And if you need to put two on one of these sheets, you can move it up or down, or start from the very top, or start low closer to the edge and then move the paper up. I always say if you're working on multiple things at once, you start from the top and then work your way down. That way your arm doesn't accidentally scrape it. So now we are going to put this transfer aside after you fill in the middle, and go ahead and put it on that fan too if you can. So now we're going to grab one Mickey pumpkin, only one, because we're doing one with raised features and one with sunken features. On this one, we are going to outline everything but the stem. So everywhere that there is a line, feel free to go ahead and outline it, even the leaf, because we'll cover that in green. But outline this completely, and then we will get to the second pumpkin here in a little bit when we do the background, but only outline this one Mickey pumpkin. So the next cookie we're going to grab is the Mickey balloon. This one is really, really simple. All you're going to do is grab your pumpkin color and you're going to outline it. Now I know sometimes you may want to use a different color for things, but for this balloon specifically, make sure you use the pumpkin color because it's one of the lighter colors that we have, and it will give it that balloon effect. If we use something that's too dark on the Mickey balloon, it may not come out the way that you're hoping. So on this, stick with the color pumpkin on it and just outline it, and then we can move on to our next cookie. Same thing as the pumpkin balloon. You want to keep the bottom of this pumpkin as well because it's the lightest color base that we have. So you're just going to do the outline of this entire cookie, and once you've done the outline, we will move on to the next cookie. We are wanting to have the outline crust over before we fill it in. That way it acts as a barrier, so that's why we're not filling it in right away. So our next cookie we're going to work on is the mini ears. Now be careful with these. I actually broke mine and I show you how to repair them later in this. So we're going to start with getting our lime green or mint green bag. Remember to massage the bag if any of the ingredients look like they aren't mixed, and you're going to cut it the same way. You want that seam to be facing towards you. You want to flatten it out and then cut it. That way the opening will make more of a round opening. We are going to do the outline of the bow. So you can start in the middle or start in the sides, but do the complete outline of the knot in the middle and the sides. And then we're just going to fill in the space in the middle once we've done the entire outline. And when you fill in that space in the middle, we are going to grab our Jimmy sprinkles and just put a couple of sprinkles on it. Now, the way that you put sprinkles on cookies is you want to count to at least 30 to 60 seconds because you don't want to put them on immediately. Sometimes the sprinkles are heavy and they will just sink right into the cookie. You always want them to be on top a little bit. So make sure you count 30 seconds and then you could start putting on sprinkles one at a time. With this small area, you don't want to dump sprinkles on, you want to just place them on there. Now we're going to grab the black just like we did with the green. Make sure you massage it and then cut it. And then when you cut your bag, you always want to make sure that you get that plastic tip out from wherever it flew to, so it doesn't end up in your cookie. So for this, I'm kind of eyeballing where the band of the mini headband starts. If you are nervous about that, you can start from one of the bottom pieces and work your way up. It's just hard when there's no sharp edge. So I'm almost using the end of the bow as my sharp edge. And then I'm going to just do the bottom half of the mini ears first. And you want it to connect to the bow before you do the outline of the exterior ears, just because those are all three going to be different color sections. You're going to have a black band with white mini ears. So that's why we are sectioning off the black with the green, and then we go back in and we will do outline the ears in black as well. So we're going to grab that Dole Whip cookie and we're going to start working on this outline. We're going to grab the mint green or the lime greenish color. We're going to massage that bag if you need to mix those ingredients. And then we are going to start doing our outline on this. So we are going to start at the top with the swoop. Now, if you are going to make this every other color, I would do the top and then I would do the bottom layer and just outline the whole thing. If you're going to make it like a swirl, then you're going to follow exactly what I'm doing here. You're going to do the top still, so no matter what, the top layer is going to be green. Now we are going to outline the triangle piece on the bottom. So we're going to follow that line down and then go back and connect it, and we'll do the same for the second triangle. If you do not want this to be a swirl again, you can do the top piece just like I did, and then just do the entire bottom piece. You don't have to do the little swirl that's there. We're going to pull back down our royal icing transfer, and we're going to fill in the sides of that bow so that way we can let it dry. So mind you, it took me over 3 hours to film this video. So in an hour and 20 minutes, I'm not sure if this bow is going to be dry. I would suggest sticking it in front of a fan and have the air blowing on it, and also have something weighted on it so it doesn't start flopping in the wind. But it does take a long time to dry. Royal icing transfers, usually you let them sit overnight, but I think if you have a fan on it, you could get it dry in about 2 to 3 hours pretty good. So this might be the last touch that you wait on for that bow. I will show you what it looks like when it's still a little bit wet at the end, but this is how you make transfers for anything. So if you ever want to make a transfer for a different kind of cookie, this is how you do it. So now we're on to the Mickey Ghost Cookie. So remember, there are two different styles. So this is the one that I'm going to make hollow. So I'm going to go ahead and outline the Mickey ears with black. You can outline both Mickey ears with black if you want to right now. There's not an issue with doing that. And then I am going to make this the sunken in cookie. So after I outline the ears, I'm going to put a little black in all the locations of the eyes and nose and mouth, and I'm going to get my cookie tool, and I'm going to use the paddle side, so that flat side of the cookie tool, to scrape the icing across where the face is going to be located. Now you don't want any excess icing on this, so you want to scrape it pretty evenly and scrape as much off as possible. I put a napkin in your box, so this is the first time we're pulling out the napkin. You're going to want to really clean off that cookie tool. You don't want any black left on it in case we have to use it again. So clean that off. Well, actually, you can wait, because you know what? We're going to go ahead and scrape the face of the Mickey pumpkin as well. So if you want to slide that Mickey pumpkin down, that we're going to do the sunken look on. So we're just doing that on one of the Mickey pumpkins. Go ahead and pull that Mickey pumpkin down, and let's scrape the black across that as well. That way we can have it all done, and then we'll really clean that cookie tool. So then we are going to grab our Dole Whip ice cream back and grab purple. Purple hasn't been opened yet, so make sure to massage it if you need to. And then let's cut purple open by doing the same way, seam up. Make sure you cut the tip. Find that little plastic tip so it doesn't end up in your cookie. And then we are going to draw the finishing lines for our Dole Whip. So we're going to just connect the purple down to the green on both of these edges. So we are going to pull down that Mickey pumpkin, and we are actually going to start filling it in. We're going to start with the middle of the pumpkin. Anytime I fill a cookie in, I'm starting with the largest mass on the cookie, which means the largest area for the kiddos who are decorating right now. So you want to avoid the eyes, nose, and mouth, because we're going to fill those in later, but we're going to fill everywhere else in. Then once it's all filled, I'm going to use my cookie tool, and I'm going to fill it. I'm going to use it to move the icing to make it more smooth, and move the icing to the different corners so I can make sure every single inch is filled in all the way. And let's move to the ears. We're going to go ahead and fill in the center of both of these ears. That way we can come back and fill in the sides. So go ahead, fill those in, and then use your tool to smooth those out. Now we are also going to do the donut cookie. So bring that down and we're going to use the orange again. So for the donut cookie, I don't recommend doing a different color for the base. It's one of the cookies where I do think that you should stick to the pumpkin color because it's one of the lighter colors that we have. You can change the icing on top when we get to that point. But for the base, stick with the pumpkin. You see me kind of wipe my tip off with the towel. I'm just cleaning it off. Sometimes you have to do that. I'm squeezing and putting a lot of pressure. You can see that on the bag to get it out. And your icing should flow this well. If it's not flowing this well, maybe your hole needs to be cut a little bit more. But don't overcut it because you do not want it just pouring out of there. But you should be able to get this icing out. When you're done with this, you're going to really use the Scribe trying to work those areas and smooth them out. Now this part is going to be covered up by another icing color, so if it's not perfect, do not worry about it. It's going to be covered up by icing and sprinkles. So we are going to grab our white icing. It has not been opened yet, so you need to cut it open. Same way, don't forget to massage it if you do need to massage the bag, if it looks like the ingredients have separated. Once you have it open, you're going to follow the black line and then do the rest of the bowl. And then you're going to do the sides as well. Make sure you have that line indent so that we can give it that dimensional look and connect the bowl to its sides. Once we have this done, we are going to start working on the lime green or mint green portion of our Dole Whip. So you'll want to get that bag next. But let's get all these lines done and then that will crest over as we are starting to fill in the green. You also will need your sprinkles. So make sure you have your sprinkles with the eyeballs available and your green. My hope is that you've outlined your green thick enough so that when we go and fill it in, it's okay that it's touching a little bit because it's not going to blend together. So I'm going to fill this in as much as I can, and then I'm going to use my cookie decorating tool to actually smooth out the areas of the cookie. I don't want it to be too overfilled. And then I'm going to continue on and fill the next 3 sections. The reason why I'm not putting the sprinkles on yet is because I want the icing to start drying a little bit. If you put sprinkles on right away, sometimes they just fall right into the cookie and they sink kind of to the bottom, and you want them to sit on top a little bit. So that's why you're seeing me fill in all 3 layers first. And again, hopefully your outline is thick enough that it protects it from running into the other cookie. So with these sprinkles, I'm going to put them on one by one. You don't want to dump them on, especially if I have kiddos decorating. Henry and Lily, I hope you hear me. Hi guys. But I put them on one by one. That way I can control where they go. We will have an opportunity to dump some sprinkles on cookies, but on this, just because we have another section to decorate, I kind of put them on one by one, and I used my cookie scribe to move them around if I needed to. But don't worry, on the donut cookie, you can definitely dump on those when we get the chance. Then we need to get our white back out, and we're going to fill in the bottom of that Dole Whip so we get another section done, and that can start drying. You want to make sure to use your scribe to flatten out any areas. Sometimes you can poke the cookie and just kind of shake it. That way it will have the icing kind of work its way back together and get smooth. Now we're going to grab the mini ears, and we are going to fill in the other two sections of the bow. Once you have these two sections filled in, you can also go ahead and add your Jimmy sprinkles on here. And I believe with this one, I just kind of sprinkled them around and then used like my tool to help me with them. But you want to make sure that you don't ice over that indent. You want to follow the line because you want it to look like the bow is tucked or has some dimension. So keep that line in there while you're working on your icing. Then count to 30. That way you can make sure that your icing has sat a little bit before you add those sprinkles in, and so the sprinkles won't sink to the bottom. So now we're going to bring down that other Mickey pumpkin that we had not drawn the face. You can pull down your other Mickey pumpkin if you just want a reference of the shape of the face again. So we're going to start in the middle, and we are going to draw that oval nose as our frame of reference. From there, we are going to do the wide smile. Again, just a little bit wider than the nose. The great thing is you can still see the two dotted black lines that are outlining the middle section of the Mickey pumpkin, so use that as a guide as well. Then we are going to go to the eyes, which you know they slightly droop, so they're going to kind of go over the shape of the oval nose, and then you're going to raise them up in that, you know, funky eye shape that I really don't know what to call, but that's what you'll do for the eyes. And then you can start outlining the rest of this cookie finally. So follow all the lines, same thing you did with the other cookie before. Now that we have the sunken eyes drawn, and this is how it gives that sunken effect. Now if I was doing this to sell, I would do that black portion and then I would probably spray some black or purple glitter on it just to give it some shimmering effect before I drew the eyes on top of this cookie. Now, once you've done this, you can go ahead and fill in the middle area of this cookie. I don't think I want to take it further. I want to give everything a chance to crust over, but let's go ahead and fill in that middle. And now you can see what I mean by the sunken eye feeling. You have that black background that is what's making the eyes and nose and the mouth. Use your cookie tool to flatten out all the areas, but don't scrape too deep because you don't want to rustle up some of that black and have it mix with your pumpkin color. Once you're done with this, we are going to move on to the ghost cookie and we are going to make another sunken face. So let's grab that white icing and we're going to grab our ghost cookie and we're going to do the same thing. We are going to make that sunken face same way. You're going to start with the oval nose and then from there we are going to do the mouth and the eyes. Now you can do the rounded oval eyes. I don't love it on this because I already feel when you fill in these cookies, the sunken eyes get smaller and you would have to make those oval eyes really, really big, I think, in order to make them feel like they fit the cookie. So I do like this, whatever we want to call the angled eyes, but that's what I'm going to do on this cookie. So now we're going to fill in the ears. So they already have been outlined with the black. Grab your black, fill it in, and work to smooth out the icing. We're going to pull down the other cookie and we're going to do the same thing. Now remember, I said I had drawn a face on this and I did not mean to draw it on a bare cookie. So on that second cookie, ignore the face that's on it. Just take care of doing the ears. And then you're going to see me take my paddle and scrape the face off. So don't worry about the face. Yours should not have a face because you should have only scraped one in the first place. But you'll see later in my cookie decorating video that it's all like scraped up and I'm just going to cover it with white completely. I don't know. I kind of like lost track of what I was doing. And so I like drew this face on there and I was like, wait a minute, that's not supposed to go on yet. It's supposed to be iced first. But go ahead, take care of those ears and then we can move on to the next cookie. So next we are going to be doing the Mickey balloon. So this one, like I said before, we're going to keep it orange because it just looks the best when it's decorated. So now all you have to do, this one is pretty simple. Just fill it in all the way and then use your cookie tool to get it as flat as possible. You can even stab the cookie and shake it a little bit if you need to, but we just need to fill this cookie. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring back our Dole Whip cookie, and we are going to go ahead and fill in the purple pieces of our Dole Whip cookie. And we're going to do the exact same thing we did with the green. So we're going to fill in both sections, and now we have green that's in between them. So there should be some separation. You don't have to overfill it, just fill it enough to use your cookie tool to work that icing in there. And then you're going to want to wait 30 to 60 seconds to ensure that the icing does not, or the sprinkles do not sink into the icing. And again, I placed my sprinkles on this one. I didn't just throw them on. However, most of it is, semi-dry at this point. If you're decorating all of this in one go, you actually need to be careful because your green icing is not dry. Sugar cookies typically take 8 to 12 hours to dry over, and that's why we dry them overnight. So just kind of be careful, especially if you're wanting to use this for like a gift or a party, or you just want to see them all decorated, because you can still crater the green sections. So we're going to do our Mickey donut now. So remember how I said you can pick what color you want. If you want to do like the purple violet color, or if you want to do green, you can. I do think that the green pops a little bit more on the orange, so I'm going to do the green. But this is where you can get creative and you can do whatever color you want. I just would stay away from the black, because obviously the Jimmy sprinkles are orange and black, and I don't think that that would show up. I think the white might look too boring, and Jimmies usually bleed when they're on white icing. So that's the only reason I would say stick with the purple or stick with the green. And you can see, like, I'm filling it in a little bit messy. I am going to try to work my icing out to be a little bit more smooth, but not super smooth. I mean, you're basically like splashing icing on a donut here. And this is where, once you've waited your 30 to 60 seconds, you can kind of grab your sprinkles and sprinkle them all over the place. But you can see me kind of working through my donut here. But again, it's not perfect. It's not meant to be perfect. It's a donut with icing, so, and sprinkles, which, that's how all donuts should come. So we're going to pull down that Mickey pumpkin, and we're going to start filling in some of the other areas. So I'm going to grab that orange again, and we're going to fill in the two sides of the top of the pumpkin so we can have that area done. And then we're going to grab our black, and we're going to start filling in some of the face. So now we are going to fill in the sides of this pumpkin, and we also are going to fill in the two sections on the ears. Now, I missed this in my video, but you shouldn't miss it. So, because I'm telling you now, you'll see later on how I missed one of the ears, which was so silly. But you go ahead and do it. I'm hoping, again, your lines are thick enough that you will not spill over into the next section. Make sure not to overfill it so you can be sure to keep that dimension in the cookies. So now we're going to pull back down the mini ears. So I actually break these cookies, and I'll show you how I repair it a little bit later. But we're going to go ahead and fill in the black portions of the headband. So fill all of that in. Use your cookie tool to flatten it out. Pause the video if you need to. And then we are going to move on from here back to the ghost cookie. So we get the ghost cookie that has the sunken face, and now we are going to just fill in everything. And you're going to use your cookie tool to make sure that everything is smooth. You know what? If you wanted to, at the bottom of this cookie, you could add some sprinkles. You can do whatever you want. It's your cookie. But this is going to be your first cookie that is completed once you fill in everything. It is basically done. So this cookie, remember I had scraped the face off of this one. So all you're going to do is outline this. Now, because this is my girl cookie, I did have some indents at the bottom, like where I went up, because I guess I was going for a flowy type of feeling. And so you can do that, and you can outline around it as you watch me with this cookie. And then you can fill it completely in. And then we will draw a face on top of this ghost cookie once it has dried a little bit more. But there you can kind of see where I said, like, I put those extra lines just to give it kind of like a flowy feeling. And you see how I follow those lines because I'm trying to show some distinction or a break in between the icing. Then we are going to pull our Dole Whip back, and we are going to go ahead and fill in the lip of the bowl. And you're going to see that there is dimension here. That's why I love doing this in little breaks, because yeah, we could have filled it all at once and it would have looked flat. But here we're going to give it some dimension. And then use your tool to kind of smooth it out. Then we're going to get our pumpkin color, and we're going to put like a little Mickey on this. So we're going to start by just putting this big circle first of the Mickey. So once you're done smoothing out your white, you're going to watch me take the tool, and take the icing, and I'm going to put a lot of pressure on it to build up a dot, and then leave it there. I might use my tool a little bit to kind of like get the peak off of that dot, and then we'll put that aside and let that dry a little bit. So now we're going to grab our Mickey balloon, and we're going to grab our black. We are going to write boo on this balloon. I could kind of gauge where to start. If you are unsure where to start, you can always make a circle in the middle of the balloon and then put your B and O so it's more centered. So instead of starting with the B, I started with the B. I had a general idea, and mine may be just a tiny bit off, but it looked really good. So the other thing we're going to do once we're done writing the boo is we are going to outline this balloon to give it dimension. To a lot of people, this looks like a done cookie, and it could be done, but you want to add a little bit of dimension to the cookie, so that's why outlining it in purple will be good. And I'm just doing like a top outline. I'm not trying to get to the absolute edge of the cookie. I just want it to have a little pop. If I was to sell this cookie, I probably would do a little bit of airbrushing on the balloon in orange before I would put this outline on. Then I'm going to grab my white, because you know how balloons kind of have like that gleam or shine on the side. We're going to also add a little bit of that shine to our balloon. So grab the white icing, and then let's put like a little, I don't know what to call it, like, like a little line in two places so that it looks like the balloon has a little bit of shine. So now we're going to pull back our Mickey pumpkin, and we are going to basically finish out this cookie. So grab your pumpkin color, and we are going to fill in the two sides first. Then you can grab your green color and fill in the leaf. The two sections are not touching enough to be worried about bleeding into each other, which is why we're starting with, the sides of this Mickey pumpkin. And then you're going to finish it up with black, and you're going to do the top. So you're going to have another cookie complete here in just a second, which is awesome. But take your time and just, listen. I'll have some background music playing so that you can completely finish decorating this cookie. I could have edited this next part out, but I thought it'd be helpful for those who do like cookie decorating. So my cookie broke, and so I actually had to use my icing to glue it together, and you'll see at the end of this film or this video that it actually works. So what I do is I put a generous amount of icing on the break, and then I put it together and I leave that cookie alone. If I was selling this cookie, I would have to do a lot more work because I'd have to make sure it has black on it and all the stuff. But this will literally glue your cookie back together. So we are going to bring back down our Dole Whip, and we are going to finish the Mickey on the Dole Whip. So I'm going to squeeze just 2 little ears on this little guy. And then when I'm done, I'm going to grab my white and I'm going to finish that last piece of the cookie, which is the back of the bowl, which gives it that more 3-dimensional look. And then you have your second cookie complete. Then we are going to pull the mini ears, and we are going to get the white icing, and we are going to fill in the ears. Yes, this is my broken cookie. You can see it's back together and actually was staying together. So you can again see where the crack is, but I would have fixed this with like black and green icing. You would have been more strategic about it if you were actually selling this cookie, because you can't leave a green speck on it like that. Or you would have found some cute decor to put on it. So fill in the 2 ears, and once you're done with that, you have another cookie complete. So now I'm bringing back down my Mickey pumpkin, and remember I forgot to do those 2 areas. So I'm going to quickly do that, and I'm also going to put black as the stump, and then this cookie is also completely finished. If you haven't finished your other Mickey pumpkin or put the stub on it or the stump on it, go ahead and do that too. So both of your Mickey pumpkins should be complete at this point because we filled in all of the pieces. And if you just haven't finished that stump on it, just go ahead and do that, and you can put both of these cookies to the side. Then we have our very last cookie, our girl ghost cookie. So the first thing I'm going to do with it is I'm going to put the face on it. So I'm going to do the vertical oval eyes on it. And then, but I'm going to always start with the nose because the nose centers everything for you. So I'm going to do the same oval kind of nose that I would have normally done, even if it was sunken in. But I'm going to be filling this in with my black icing. Then I'm going to do the 2 eyes on there. And when I do cookies like this, I just put a simple smile. So it'll just be a 1-line smile. Then I'm going to go get my royal icing transfer. You can see that it's still kind of wet. And this is after like 3 hours. And it was in front of a fan. So it just may not dry as quickly as you hope. If you have a dehydrator, that will get it dry really fast. But I am going to peel it off, and you can see the back of it. And I put a little dot of icing on the cookie. And, well, you want a generous amount because you want it to stay on. And then I place this royal icing transfer on the cookie. That is our final cookie. I hope that you enjoyed decorating with me today. Great job on decorating these 8 cookies. I know it was a long class online. It's about an hour and 10 minutes. We usually do a 2-hour class, so I know it's taking a little bit longer. But I hope you really enjoyed this and you'll join me on the next one. Have a magical rest of your day.
If you enjoyed that video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and we will see you real soon.